What is up, everybody? How are we doing? What's up? What's up? What's up? Let's get into it. So, we're almost here at the weekend. It's almost the weekend. That's good. I'm tired. It's been a long week for me, busy and everything. But hey, another day closer to free agency, all that good stuff. So, what is up, everybody? So, I was supposed to have somebody on today, but we moved it till tomorrow. So it was got things in the works, but we always got to change things up. So scheduling stuff. We're gonna have our guests tomorrow, actually. So we're gonna talk about the 49ers report card. So the NFL Players Association yesterday came out with these report cards. It's like going to school. It's like a report card for how a team does, and it's uh so let me get it. So basically, the NFL Players Association, they polled 1,300 of the NFL players, and they provided information to share with one another about their current club to not only help them make important career decisions, but to help raise the standards across the league. So it's like helping the free agents, right, on how on teams in the NFL, maybe to guide them and say, oh, let me look at these reports. Maybe I shouldn't go to this team. Maybe I should go to this team. So it's just a way of the NFL Players Association to help, players and stuff in the league have awareness of teams in the league. Like, how are, if you're going to be a free agent, and you're looking to go to the San Francisco 49ers, what are you looking for? What are you looking at? So we're going to look into this today, specifically the 49ers. The NFL Players Association says one of their core jobs as a union is to improve the overall working conditions for our players, which includes the daily experience of the players at the team facilities away from the lights and cameras, right? What we see is the glitz and the gold, the cameras, the game day stuff, all the cool stuff. Niners coming out on the boombox, right? All that kind of stuff. We don't know what goes behind the scenes. We don't know how families are treated. We don't know how players are getting treated in terms of their rehab, the training facility, all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about this stuff. What's up, everybody? So my man Throwback says I'm late. I know I was on the phone with my daughter helping her with some homework, and I was like, oh crap, I gotta go live. So scrambling last minute. I know I'm always late, but I always got a good excuse. I was helping my daughter with her homework. She's at her mom's today. Um, she needed me to help her with some editing of her essay coming up. She always likes me to edit her papers, so I got a good excuse of why I was late. Anyways, the goals of the NFL Players Association with this was to highlight positive clubs, identify areas that could be used for improvement, and highlight the best practices and standards. To learn more about the background of this initiative, right, President J.C. Treader, he says he had some damn initiative, whatever. So, you know what? Before we get to the 49ers, I like to read that the Arizona Cardinals were one of the worst graded teams. They got an F. They got an F, man. They got 31st. Arizona Cardinals were graded 31 of 32 teams on this report card. So you know what, Arizona Cardinals, you got an F, baby. Some other teams in our division, the Bengals got an F too. Cleveland Browns got a C. The Broncos got a D plus. Let's see, who else is in our division? Let's take the Rams. Los Angeles Rams got a D plus. You love to hear it. The San Francisco 49ers graded as a B plus. They were number 7 overall. The Seahawks got a B plus. They're 11th of all 32 teams. So they're in the middle of the road. 49ers are top 10. And so the Rams, they got a horrible grade. And so did the Cardinals. You got to love it. You got to love that those teams, they're in our division. They got horrible reports. So, this is fun to talk about these things because we're playing against these teams. We got to go against them in free agency. And, maybe players are going to look at this and they're like, oh, the Cardinals are an F. Why would I want to go there? So, that's something I like to hear. See, is someone in our division getting crappy grades? That's amazing to me. Let me pull up some more. Let me see here. The heck is this list at? Where was that? I thought I saved. There's a bit of information of like the top 10, but we won't go into all the top 10. We'll just get right into the 49ers. So, of course, we got a B plus, and we were ranked number 7th of 32 teams, right? So the San Francisco 49ers, they were ranked 7th among all NFL clubs in their team guide, right? So the responses for the team were positive, and all but one section. I mentioned this a little bit last night. There was one section where the 49ers did not score well, and that's the training room, a crucial area for players to rehab and recover. It says the tubs and the rehab pool are viewed as small, and there are a lack of tables and space in the training room. Jed York ranks seventh among team owners for his willingness to invest money into upgrading their facilities. So there is a belief that the investment will be made to ensure that these areas are upgraded to meet the high standards set by the rest of the facility. So, uh, to me, this is a big issue, right? So they graded with the C+ in the training room. They were tied for 17th. So this is the one area where the 49ers did not do well. And to me, a training area, a training room, that's important, for recovery, right? With the 49ers have a lot of injuries over the last couple of years. Maybe that's the reason they're getting injuries, right? If you're not training in a suitable environment, if you're not fostering good recovery because you don't have the space, mentally the players may not be able to recover fast enough, or maybe there's sets them up for. We got to figure out why they're getting injured, right? Like the 49ers, as we talked about a few weeks ago, they were the most injured team in the NFL for several years, right? This is an issue that's been going on, and we're trying to find out, is it this? Is it the play style? Is it this? I mean, it's the NFL. Injuries are going to happen, right? Everybody says the 49ers are injury prone. There's so many jokes out there. The 49ers, the 49 IRs, right? People will make the memes of the 49ers, the wheelchairs, their logo. It's becoming a joke. So why the hell are we injured? And again, the 49ers play very physical football. That can lead to injuries. They train very hard. They want to be bullies. But is the lack of training room a reason for concern? It could possibly be a reason why the 49ers are hurt because, as a person that is a physical therapist and works in rehab, directly, when I see, a big, nice room and the patients see that, they're going to be invited and they know that they're going to get better when they see a lot of equipment, when they see space. Because if you're cramped up and there's not a lot of space, sometimes you feel cramped. You just feel like you're training in a bad environment. That to me is just mental. A lot of recovery is mental. So I feel like this could be a reason why the 49ers may get injured. So it is nice to know that Jed York does have a willingness to invest money to upgrading these facilities in this report. So again, if the 49ers can improve this, maybe their injuries can get better. Again, this is just something to think about, something to kind of consider again, because the 49ers, we've been getting injured for years and we want to change this. We don't want to get injured. So it's something to notice. So we're going to go down through the categories. There's several categories. For the first one, and we'll come back to this category. So that's the one that sticks out like a sore thumb, right? Is the training room. They got a C+, and it was ranked 17 out of 32. That's pretty, I mean, it's not good. But there's worse ones than us. So it is nice to know that. Can you imagine if the 49ers ranked 17th and they got a C+, and another team is worse than that? Like, can you imagine getting an F in your training room? I'd like to know what team that is. I'll have to kind of go through this, and maybe we can pick, and we'll go through like the Cardinals and the Rams because they got horrible grades. I kind of wanted to see where we compared to them. So the first one is treatment of families. 49ers were tied fifth out of 32 teams. They got a B+, not bad, right? So the support of the players' families, they ranked sixth. So they offer daycare. They are one of 14 teams that do not offer a family room. So they don't have a family room, but they do have daycare. But overall, it says that they have a really good, support for players' families coming into the stadium and all that good stuff. So, that's nice to know because if players have families, they want to be treated well. That's a big aspect of the game. You treat families right, players are going to be happy because they want their families to be treated right. So that's definitely one good area. The second one is food service and nutrition. Obviously you got to make sure you're putting good stuff in your body. 49ers got an A-. They're tied for fifth. Their quality of food was very high. It says all three meals are provided. They have 94% of players feel there is enough food in the cafeteria and there's enough room in the cafeteria. Like there's always good food provided to them. So that's a good thing. The 49ers are very well fed. That's good. We need our players to be fed, right? So the 49ers quality of food ranks high. So, hey, if you're a 49ers player, you're getting some damn good food. That's good to know. You know what? You need to make sure you're feeding these boys well, right? Players. So the weight room, now we'll move on to the weight room. 49ers got an A-. They were tied for ninth. It says the players feel like they have a very nice weight room to work out in. It says 100% feel that they have enough strength coaches. That's an area of concern. People have said their strength and conditioning staff, over the years, they had to change their training staff, so that kind of goes hand in hand. Now we're getting into the fact of injury with, your training. Is your training adequate enough? And it does say that their weight room feels like they have enough space. So their weight room's nice. So they've put in a lot of money and invested a lot of money to make sure they have a good weight room. We've seen videos. I've been in, Levi Stadium training camp and stuff, and you can see the weight room. It looks like it's a very big open space. So that's nice to know. And you can tell that these guys really spend their time. That's one of the things that the players always talk about, how they're always in the weight room and stuff. And again, that's one of the aspects of being an NFL player. They're training a lot in the offseason. So they do have a very good weight room to work out in. The next one is the strength coaches. So you have a weight room, you're training in there, your strength coaches, they're tied for 10th and they got an A. It says that the players feel that the strength coaches add significantly to their success. So it says 95% of the players believe they received an individual plan and it ranked 16th in the league. So it does seem like they're really have improved in these areas. Because, a couple years ago, they had a strength coach that they fired. They got rid of a new staff, or they got rid of their old staff and they hired a new staff, right? So they implemented a new weight room. So it does look like over the years, they have fixed these areas. So again, if we're looking into injuries, why the hell are the 49ers getting injured? Is it the strength training? Is it the strength coaches? Is it the weight room? It looks like those areas are doing well. So nutrition is good. So those aspects are good for the players. And again, the players are very happy with it. And then now we get to the training room. So it does say, this is what we talked about earlier, C plus, tied for 17th. It says that a significant number of players feel that it is small and it needs more tables. There's not enough staff. It says 89% feel they have enough ATCs and 86% feel that they have enough PTs. I mean, that's a good number, but I wanted to get in the 90s. So then it does say that several of the players noted that the staff is kind of lacking in areas at times. That's a big flag right there. If you don't have enough staff members to do your rehab, you're going to get a little irritated. You want to make sure you have enough rehab staff for your players. It's a big team. 53 players on an active roster. You make sure you have enough trainers. And are they trained well? And are they doing a good enough job? And if you have enough, and then if you have a lot of trainers, you need to make space for them. So that is a big concept here. So the steam room, sauna room, there is a steam room, and some players say that they don't feel like it's big enough for them. Now the tubs, it says 54% of the players feel they have enough hot tub space. Only 54%. It says it's ranked 26, and then it says 58% of the players feel they have enough cold tub space. So after a game, you like to go soak in the tub or the cold tub, and a lot of the players say they don't have enough space. So maybe they're not cooling down, they're not recovering after a game, and that's important because, okay, after a game, you want to kind of go in that tub, you want to cool down, you want to get in there and help minimize your soreness. If you're not getting that, if you're not able to mitigate that injury after a game, you're going to have soreness lingering. You go into training, practice the next week, and you're still not recovered after game. So to me, it tells me that the big culprit for the 49ers and moving forward in injury prevention is right there, the training room. They don't have enough tubs and they don't have enough space, and these players are not recovering after a game. So it's not just how hard they're playing. We talked about the bully ball, the physicality. That definitely is an aspect, but you have to be able to recover from the game style you're playing and the practice. And if you're going out there, you're playing this hardcore style of football and you can't recover from it right after, you can't cool down, you can't go in the tub, you can't soak and relax the muscles, that right there could be the problem. I think that is it. Again, there's a lot of factors. There's sometimes some injuries just happen. It's freak injury, the way your foot bends, arm bends, whatever. Of course you can't prevent every injury. But I definitely think that this right here, with the players telling us that only 54% of the players feel that they have enough hot tub space and 58% of the players feel they have enough cold tub space, that to me is big because after a game, you really want to go in there and just take that soreness away. Let's say the next day you wake up after a big road trip, you've played 2 games, you grind it out, you're tired, you got this hamstring soreness, and you wake up and you just still feel like shit. That's a big factor because how many times have we on game day, right? After the game, Kyle Shanahan says, "Oh, there's no injuries. We're good. Oh, this guy had a stinger. Blah 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 blah. Debo had a little, bruise, whatever. It's no big deal." Then the next day, when Shanahan addresses the media, right, on Monday, and then all of a sudden, boom, injury, or Wednesday comes after a few days, a new injury just pops up out of nowhere. To me, it's telling me they're not recovering after a game enough. That to me is glaring. 100%. It's not just the staff, because everybody wants to blame the training staff. They got a whole new training staff a couple years ago. So I don't think it's just the training staff. I'm sure they're all qualified. They're all, people that are strength coaches. They've gone through their training and everything, and their years of experience. I'm sure they have good, training, but it's the space, it's the area that they have to recover, and I think that is a huge issue, and that's something I hope they can fix, because injuries are killer, man. We get a lot of injuries through the years. We've had so many soft tissue injuries, just like hamstring pull, ankle sprain. How many damn players have ankle sprain, hamstring, groin, right? Like, we had so many of the same injuries, right? It was hamstring for a while. It was ankle sprain, and then it was groin injury, right? Those nagging soft tissue. If it's the same injury, it has to be the same reason why all the injuries are popping up. To me, soft tissue injury is like a pattern, right? You don't just have 10 people have a hamstring issue for no reason. There's got to be a culprit to it. So I think that could be it. My God, I'm gonna get this Ramelia guy out of here. This guy's an idiot, man. So let's take a look at some of these comments. My man Nathan says he didn't even get a notification. See, that's not cool, man. YouTube's they're haters. They're haters. Mimi says, in all fairness, we were pretty healthy in the second half of the season. It was unfortunate what happened to Brock. Yeah, so some injuries are just bad luck, just unfortunate. Like that injury, that wasn't because of training. That wasn't because of anything. That was, he got hurt. He got hit on a play. And it was just a bad situation. And then the 49ers didn't have another backup because they got to that point, right? Some injuries just happen. But I'm talking about the soft tissue injuries, the hamstring, the groin pulls, those little like nagging, small little, nitpicky injuries that all of a sudden become something later. Those soreness injuries, like, okay, Debo woke up today and he has a hamstring strain. Yesterday he was fine. Those injuries, all of a sudden Christian McCaffrey, he has a calf strain, right? Those little nitpicky injuries, those little dumb little injuries. To me, those are the reasons why big injuries can happen. You get a little pesky injury like that, it gets aggravated, or it lingers, and then it becomes a bigger injury. So to me, that's the issue, I feel, right? So yeah, he is a bot. I got rid of him. Why don't I have super chat? Well, that's another issue I have with YouTube. We'll get there eventually. It's not that I don't have the credentials, the hours, the subscriptions, and all that stuff. It's just to be hating, but we ain't here to talk about all that stuff. Let's get to some of these questions. It says, Myth says, you may have a point. How did you get this info from the players? My bad, join late. No doubt. So this was a report card that was provided from the NFL Players Association. You can sign it. You can search it up. So yesterday, this was provided from the NFL Players Association. So I have the list here. So this is the NFL Players team report cards, and they go through and they talk about every single player's, every team. They list them all. The Washington Commanders got an F. Tampa Bay Buccaneers got a D plus. So it's funny to see how the 49ers compare to other teams. The Jaguars got an F. So it doesn't mean necessarily that you get a bad report card that you're a bad team. It just means that these are areas that players, that were on the team that were polled, or teams that went to another facility, on a road game, they're rating. So players are rating their work experiences, just like you and me do, right? We have a job, and we sometimes get questionnaires, and we rate our work experience. I know I've gotten those in my time. They say, okay, rate the staff, rate this, rate that. What can we change to improve? It's like a corporate thing. So the NFL does that with the NFL Players Association. It is interesting to notice, though, these things. So that's the training room. Again, that was the one area where the 49ers really failed, right, in this aspect. So the next topic, so we did talk about training staff. That is the next actual grade they got. The 49ers training staff was tied for 15th. They got an A minus. They were graded as an A minus. So this is what it says. It says, when asked about the training staff Adding to their success, the 49ers tied for 15th in the NFL. Tied for 15th sounds average, but that is because most teams rated their training staff positive. Okay. So the 49ers players gave overall high marks to the training staff, which is why the overall grade is still high. So see, now that could be there is some like bias. Like let's say Debo or I don't know, CMC or Kittle, like they're boys with somebody on the training staff. You're gonna give them a high grade, right? So then there might be a little bias in the grading. So how much of these grades can we take into, do we take it with a grain of salt? Do we just take it at face value? Or is there a little bias? Because again, training staff now, even though they do have a new training staff, and I'm sure the players love these guys because they have their favorite trainer on the team. Oh, like, oh yeah, Joe Smith over there. I know when I come in at 8 a.m., he's gonna have my table prepped. He's gonna save me a table because what did we say? They don't have enough tables. He's gonna have my table set. He's gonna have my ankle tape ready. Like everything's set for me. So maybe George Kittle, because he's the veteran, he's the clubhouse leader. Maybe he has the stuff set for him. So of course Kittle's gonna give him high marks. You know what I mean? So that could be something that plays into it. So the players love the staff. The players aren't going to throw anybody under the bus. They're a family. It's not just the players that they're families with. They're boys with the training staff. So you got to take that into consideration. So they are tied for 15th. It does sound like they're average. They got good ratings, A minus. But again, you have to realize that maybe the players rated these guys high. So how good is this training staff? We don't know. We're not there. I know, they got good marks, but how good is the training staff in general, right? So I don't know. It is interesting to note that they did say that most teams just rate their training staff positive. Like when you get a survey right in school or at work, and you just want to get the hell out of there. Okay, excellent, 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 and you just turn it in. Did you really read it? Did you really grade them? No, you just graded the high marks. Did you? All right, get out of here. I gotta grade them. I'm not gonna grade them bad because if you grade them bad, they might ask you. You just want to grade it and get over with, right? So I think that could be it. I think that could be it. The players are just circle, 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 boom. I'm out of here. Where do we turn this in? I gotta go. I gotta go. Have some lunch. I gotta go meet Claire Kittle and have some caviar with her tonight. Where do I sign this paper at? You know what I mean? So it could be one of those issues. And then the locker room is the next topic. They got a B plus. They were tied for 10th, right? It says the players see the locker room as a functional space, which could be upgraded, but is seen as better than most other teams across the league. It says 91% of the players feel like they have enough space. So it does seem like the locker room is a very big space compared to other teams. They feel, like it's a good functional locker room. So that's good. The locker room's a great space. These guys spend a lot of time in their locker room. And that's the other thing is the 49ers, the players, not just the 49ers, but across the league. These players spend their whole day there. They spend most of their year there. And this is where they spend all their time. So this is home for them. And if they're not feeling good there, if they're not feeling like mentally, mentally stable in these environments, it's going to affect them, right? Overall, as a person. You guys go to work, right? When you go to work, if you don't feel comfortable at work, if you don't feel good at work, that's going to change your day-to-day mental state. If you go to a workplace that you hate, if you go to a place that just doesn't have enough space or a functional place to kind of just rest, your lounge, your food area, right? Places where you're supposed to have your time to yourself, if that's not a good space for you, and sometimes you don't feel good mentally, right, at work. So I feel like that's what the locker room signifies in this. And again, the 49ers players feel like that it's a really good space compared to most. So team travel, that's the next option. They got tied for 9th place. They got an A minus, right? It says that 93% of the players feel like they have enough room to spread out. They don't have roommates. Very few first class seats made available for players. So they do feel like the team travel is really good. I feel most of the times the 49ers, you see them take those jets and traveling. They do seem like they travel pretty well. They usually have a plan, in the East Coast. They stay kind of together in in a space close to where they're gonna play, right? They have their East Coast travel trip. They know where they're going, and I feel like they have that taken care of. And then they also have what was I gonna say? They also have team buses and charter buses and all that stuff. I feel like their travel is good, but again, travel is a big impact. If you're going on a lot of road games, you want to make sure you have a good space there because I'm not gonna lie to you. Sometimes I see the players on game day and they're walking to the tunnel, and I see the clips and stuff. They look tired, man. So I think travel's a big part of how players can mentally feel stable day to day. So let's see. It says Mimi says the 49ers organization is top notch. I believe the front office will take that grade into consideration and fix the issue. I do too. I think they're really going to look at that training room and upgrade it. I feel like they've done that with everything on this team over the last couple of years, right? They've really worked on improving the roster. They've worked on improving any little aspect, and I think that's what they're going to continue to do. And I think that the areas where they're lacking, they definitely will make sure that they fix them. So again, it looks like the team travel is going well, right? So it does say that during the last 2 years, the Board of Representatives has discussed ways to improve the information available to free agents, making decisions about their prospective clubs, and decided to pursue the development of the club report. So again, this is good for free agents. So players that want to come to the Niners, they're going to see this stuff and they're going to say, "Oh, okay." People think that their weight room's good, their food services are good. Like that's what they're going to grade. That's what they're looking into. Obviously, there's other factors. It's not the only factor: money, team, player preference. But this is something that they're all provided with, so they can kind of make decisions. Because family, right? Taking care of their family. What if you want to go to a team and it says that family treatment of family is an F? You're like, why would I want to go to this team if they're going to treat my family like dog shit, right? So that's something that is important for a lot of players, right? If they're going to go to a new team and they're going to go to a team like, let's say, for example, California, very expensive. It's very expensive. Well, let's say you're going to move from like Texas to California, and you're going to take your family with you and move there, and the cost of living is going to be crazy, and your money that you're going to get is going to be lower overall because of state tax. Let's say you look at that and you're like, treatment of family and F, I'm not going to go. You might consider not going there. So I like that they provide this information. I want to take a look at real quick as we move on to the Arizona Cardinals, who got an F. They got an F, 31st out of 32 teams. It says the Arizona Cardinals ranked second to last in the overall score among the 32 clubs. It says the locker room does not have confidence that owner Michael Bidwell is willing to invest to upgrade the facilities. Oh, God. It says he ranks the lowest in that category across the league. The responses that provide the basis for that characterization include the worst ranked weight room, which some players feel is a safety hazard, an outdated training room and locker room, and a policy of deducting dinner from players' paychecks should players want to get food from the facility. The Arizona Cardinals are the only team that charge their players for the food that they have to get at the facility. That's crazy. So if I'm DeAndre Hopkins and I need to get some lunch, they're going to charge my ass. It's crazy. I play for the Arizona. You're going to charge me to eat at my own facility? I'm DeAndre Hopkins. That's crazy, man. It says the consistent sentiment in players' responses was that the ownership does not provide high quality workplace facilities, and club policies reflect the lowest rate of confidence that current ownership is willing to invest to make upgrades. That's crazy. Cardinals, that's amazing. The Cardinals are a walking L right now, and that's his big information for a team, for a player that's going into free agency. They got rid of their head coach. They got rid of their, they got their team is in shambles. They're a bad team. And this tells you what you need to know. So, yes, the 49ers, they have some areas where they were, lacking. But overall, compared to other teams, look at what John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan have built. Yes, their training room needs to be fixed because we get hurt a lot. But overall, everything else has been very positive. It sounds like Jed York is willing to make those upgrades compared to the Cardinals. This is horrible. This is just, I love it. That treatment of families in F, 29th, tied for last. They don't have a family room. 11 teams, one of 11 teams that don't even offer daycare. They don't give a shit about their players or their family. Food service, nutrition, and F, ranked 32 in quality of food. If players would like a dinner, it will be boxed up for them. But players reported that the team will charge you via payroll deduction. That's crazy. It's the only club that does this. Players reported that if you work out at the facility after the season is over, the team charges you for every meal eaten at the facility. Oh my God. Apparently, the only team in the league that does this. 69% of the players said there was enough room in the cafeteria. That's a low number compared to the Niners that said 90%, right? Weight room, F minus, ranked 32nd. They said the players describe it as a health and safety risk just to walk through the weight room. The flooring is nearly a unanimous complaint. The floors are uneven, floorboards are peeling up. This is a professional football team, the Arizona Cardinals. 73% of players think they have enough strength coaches. That percentage is the lowest in the league. Oh my God. Strength coaches got an A minus, but we did talk about this earlier that I feel like players are going to give their training staff, like their coaches, they're going to give them a good grade because, you got the players, oh, that's my dog, that's my boy, I can't give them a bad grade. So take this with a grain of salt. Training room, F minus, tied for 30th, tied for last. Survey responses included several complaints of being outdated. Staffing. 67% of players think they have enough ATCs, athletic trainers, second lowest in the league. 48% of players think they have enough of PTs, second lowest in the league. Yo, Arizona Cardinals, hire your boy. I can be a PT for the Arizona. They need more. I won't sabotage them, trust me. Steam room, sauna room. Their sauna room is not big enough. They said 65% of players only think that. 63% of the players feel they have enough cold tub space. They're not getting good grades. Training staff B plus. When asked about the training staff, theirs to success, they're tied for 22nd in the NFL, slightly below average. So their training staff is slightly below. Locker room F and F. It says only 30% of the players feel like they have enough space. Complaints that it's old and needs renovation. Good night, Sally. To me, it sounds like the Cardinals players fucking hate it there. They hate it. They hate it. Wow, the Cardinals hate their front office. They hate the team. Like, can you imagine? The Cardinals hate being there. This is what I'm reading. And players across the league that were polled about the Cardinals hate it there. That's crazy, man. The Cardinals took an L. Wow. Oh, man. Stunting Kyler's growth, right? That's crazy. Crazy. It says on travel, it said the players reported that in previous years, the team used a large plane so that all players had lay down seats. This past season, the club switched to a smaller plane, which limited the number of lay down seats. So many players have worse seats and less space. You're even messing their travel up. Like, can you imagine? So it could be a reason why they're losing a lot of games. Like, you're traveling, you're cramped up, you're tired. Like, you're tired when you travel. And now, if you're traveling and your space is low, you're going to be even in worse shape. So this is crazy. Cardinals, man, bad report card. Let's take a look at the LA Rams because they got a D plus. They got a bad grade too. They were ranked 25th of 32 teams, right? They were a team that won a Super Bowl sub 2 years ago, right? They are 25th last year of 32 teams. So it says the Los Angeles Rams are ranked as the 25th best team in the league. They are currently operating from a temporary practice facility. However, they have not even broken ground at their permanent practice facility, so players expecting to be working out of the current building for the foreseeable future. Players do not feel that the temporary facility was built to support professional athletes, and unsurprisingly, in the opinions of players, respondents, it leaves a lot to be desired. It says the negative feedback of the facility is somewhat offset by the current, as the positive feedback about the staff. So the current coach, Sean McVay, supports his players as well as any other coach in the NFL. The players also think very highly of both their training staff and strength coaches, and 95% of the players feel like the club owner, Stan Kroenke, is willing to spend money to upgrade facilities. Yeah, they definitely spend money, ranking 13th overall. The hope is that the willingness to invest translates to a new building to support the players soon. So it seems like they have this old, outdated training facility. They want to upgrade. They got a new shiny stadium, but at what cost? See, this is what the Rams do. They spend all this money, but then all the others minor stuff, it gets left for dead. So training facility sucks. They don't have draft picks. They did all that great stuff. They bought a championship. Now they're going through this rebuilding kind of phase, this Super Bowl hangover phase, and everything you can kind of see. They're losing veterans. Bobby Wagner's out of the picture. They're losing a lot of players. They don't have draft picks to take, young players. They might lose Ramsey, and now the training facility sucks. You can mask that when you go buy everybody and win a Super Bowl. Everybody's happy, but then when all that goes away and people are left and they're seeing what is become after winning a Super Bowl, it's like the hell is happening here. So this is funny. So Mimi says they rent a duplex. They can't even take care of half the building. That is sad. Treatment of families D+. Wow. There's a lack of communication, they say. Woo. Post-game gathering area ranked 20th. Food and nutrition got a D. Only 29% of the players say there's enough room in the cafeteria. Seems like they just throw them in a small little area. So, yeah, you're right. Duplex. Weight room got a C. It is a temporary building, so they make do with what they have. Strength coaches, of course, they said that they like their strength coaches. Players feel that the strength coaches go above and beyond to support them and add to their success. So they have to make up for the little areas that they have. So the coaches step up. And they do have a good, McVay and his staff, I'm sure they're really good. Training room at D+. And they are only one of 4 teams that do not provide a steam room. And 33% of the players feel they have enough space in the cold tub and the hot tub. So they're ranked pretty much in the last, tied for second to last in those areas. They like their training staff. The locker room, they got a D, tied for 25th. So there's not enough space. They don't feel like it was built properly to support a team. The travel has got good ratings and stuff. So it's pretty interesting to hear what the 49ers are graded compared to these other 2 teams that didn't do good this season in the in the NFC West. So you had 49ers, they graded high in all these marks. They had a great season, whereas the Rams and the Cardinals, they graded towards the bottom. Bad report cards, and they had a shitty season. So it kind of does seem like it correlates a little bit to how their season plays out. Because if your facilities are shitty and everything else is bad and your players are in a bad mood, they're not going to play really well on game day. It makes sense, right? If you're not getting good nutrition, if you're not in a good mood, if you're not training well, Sunday comes, you're in you're pissy mood. And you're going to get curb stomped by the 49ers or whoever you're playing because they're having a great week. So all these little things, these training, your recovery, your rest, your family, because your mental. Let's say they treat your family like shit, right? Like let's say one of your players, their wife or their mom, they're not having a good day because the team's not being treated well, right? Because you're getting bad reports, and we're saying the family's not being treated well. They're gonna let you know about it. You know how many people in here? I'm sure that if your family member is not having a good day, they're gonna call you, they're gonna text you, and they're going to vent to you. So if your family's having a bad day, if your wife's having a bad day, your husband's having a bad day, somebody in your family is having a bad day, you're going to be having a bad day because you have to live with that. So that spills into game day because personal problems can kind of spill into your mind. So all these little things go a long way for a player. So I'm glad the Niners got a good rating overall. We got a B+. They need to fix that training room. They need to upgrade that damn training room so we don't get hurt. But overall, I think the 49ers had a good, report card considering these other teams, man. So, now my man 49er Jeff says, what's going on? They said the 49ers don't warm up long enough. I said that this offseason too, actually. I definitely said that. Well, no, I was at training camp. Again, it's hard to say because I can't really compare it to other teams because I haven't been to their training camp. But from what I've seen, just based on my experience watching the 49ers, I felt personally that they didn't warm up enough. Like they didn't stretch enough. I definitely feel that. So I remember going out on training camp, and I've done it 2 years now, and I would remember they'd sit down, they'd run out to the, you see the players come out, maybe a quick stretch, but then they go right to they sound the horn and they go boom right to their groupings and stuff. It's like, okay, you barely stretch, bro. But again, I can't compare it to how far, to other teams because I've never seen other teams, but just based on a general knowledge of, simple, sports conditioning and being a therapist and all that stuff, just seeing the time they spent on, or what little time they spent on stretching, because it was like, to me, it just didn't seem long enough. That's just my opinion, but I agree that they probably don't warm up long enough. But again, you got to consider these other factors. Maybe they are doing some stuff before they get out on the field. We're not seeing those things, right? And that's why looking at this report card, you're like, okay, maybe they did give the training staff good remarks, right? So maybe the training staff makes sure that they're stretched prior to getting onto the field, right? So it really is hard to quantify what they're doing that we don't see because we don't see all that stuff. But again, there is a small space, according to this report card, for the 49ers. So maybe they just want to get done and train because that's what they feel like they got to do. So it depends. I do think that they didn't spend enough time stretching, but again, we don't know what they're doing behind the scenes. So it does sound like everything behind the scenes is pretty good for the 49ers compared to, other teams. Cardinals, God, that's bad. That is just great information. It seems like the Cardinals are in a shit place. A shit place. Matt Andrew says they treat Stafford's wife. Can you imagine, bro? I would never want her to be on my. She complains. She'll go on her podcast the next day and she just cries, and she's got this nasty voice, and she just cries and cries. All the 49ers, it's so loud in there. Stat Matt couldn't call the plays. You remember that? You remember when she complained that Matt couldn't call the plays at home because the fans were too loud? Get your own fans in there. The 49ers took over that stadium. That was priceless. When the 49ers would invade, and we do it every year, when the first year though, she was there and she complained so much. Oh, you guys need to make sure you don't sell tickets to the 49ers because Matt couldn't call his audibles. Couldn't call his audibles. Andrew says, how do they treat Jackson Mahomes? You know what? Let's pull up Kansas City. I don't know. I don't think they treat that guy well. He's a joke. Kansas City Chiefs, they did not get a good report. They got a B. They got a B. It looks good, but it says that they were graded 29th out of 32 teams. Says the Chiefs are ranked 29th overall in our team guide. In general, the results show that the facility feels outdated and players would like to see upgrades across the board. Only 56% of the respondents believe that the club owner, Clark Hunt, is willing to invest money to upgrade the facility, ranking him 27th in this category. It says players' responses show that treatment of players also falls well below other clubs across the NFL. For example, the Chiefs are one of 6 teams that still make certain players have roommates, and less than 50% of players feel they have enough room to be comfortable on flights. Feedback on the training room was also notable. Players' respondents called for a more welcoming environment, and several players had negative opinions about head trainer Rick Burkholder, feeling that he does not treat players fairly and consistently or with personal care. Wow, that's kind of interesting. Families was tied for 12th, and it says that it doesn't have any pretty notes, but it does say that they ranked 12th, so they gave them a B. But they ranked bad in team travel. They got an F. The locker room was a D minus. The training staff was a D minus. The training room was a D plus. The weight room was a C plus, and the nutrition was a D. So, to me, it seems like the Chiefs' facility sucks. Good thing they have good coaches and good players. So, it sounds like being a Chief would be horrible, other than winning a Super Bowl. Man, that's funny to hear. But that's interesting. Let's do one more team. Let's take a look at the Seahawks since they're in our division. Let's see what they got. They got a B plus. They got good ratings so far. So, but again, we gotta look and see what the stuff says. So they were graded 11th out of 32 teams. It says the Seattle Seahawks ranked 11th in the team guide. The club scored well in most of the areas reviewed, with most of the positive feedback resulting from a nice facility with plenty of space. They do seem like they'd have a big facility. Their stadium's nice. It says the Seahawks have a very nice locker room, a good weight room, and earned positive reviews of the cafeteria. There are just 2 areas where player respondents believe they lag compared with the rest of the league: staffing their training room and team travel. In short, there is a desire to have more staff support player training and recovery, and also improve on making travel more comfortable for players, as they are only one of 7 teams that do not offer players first-class flights, the only exception being after road victories. Well, here's a simple solution. Win some damn road games, Seattle. With the facility scoring well, it is no surprise that 93% of the players believe Seahawks ownership is willing to invest in money to upgrade the facility. So, looks like the Seahawks graded pretty well. Teams happy, players are happy, kind of similar to the 49ers, and both teams had success this year. So it to me, it does sound like, if you have a good team, you have a good relationship with the front office, you have great facilities, you should do good. Obviously, not every team is going to do great in these report cards. Like the Chiefs, they had very bad ratings, But they got Patrick Mahomes, so you have Patrick Mahomes. He could recover. He could overcome a shitty team, locker room, and all that stuff. So, good to hear. Philly next. Let's see. Ed Lear, sir, do you think the players are almost incentivized to respond poorly so the owners invest? I think that's a good point. Like maybe the players try to, if they know there's an upgrade needed, they're going to collectively say, hey, let's grade this low so maybe they can look into it. Because I've done that at work where I'm like, man, we really need to upgrade our equipment or whatever. And we pull as a team, we'll be like, look, let's give them bad reviews, or we'll all come together and form a statement of saying we need better equipment or material, or and it's worked. So maybe you're right. Maybe there is a collective of teams or a collective of players in certain teams that say, hey, look, if we could give this a bad review, maybe it'll incentivize them to fix it. But also, maybe the bad grade is when players have done that for several years and they're not upgrading. So then they're like, fuck it, this team, I've been here for 4 years. We've been trying every year to upgrade the sauna or the locker room or whatever, and it's still the same. Then that's probably where you get these bad grades because there's a pattern of, okay, last year they told us they're going to improve this, they're going to upgrade this, but they didn't. Boom. And so probably the players are pissed off. So you're probably in thinking in the right direction of, yeah, maybe the players collectively try to grade bad so they could get an improvement. But then the bad grade also might come from they've been doing this for a couple years and they're not seeing any upgrades. So we'll do one more. We'll do the Philadelphia Eagles. They got a B minus. They were ranked 14th of 32 teams. It says the Philadelphia Eagles ranked 14th overall in the guide. The major concerns expressed by player respondents relate to the team's treatment of the players and their families. Whoo! They do not provide a family room for the players' families at the stadium, unlike most other clubs. Despite not offering this to players, they do have a family room for the family members of coaches and the football operations staff, not the players, though. Their air travel also stands out as an area where players felt there could be improvement. Only 51% of the players feel like they have enough room to spread out. They are only one of just 8 teams in the league that do not offer their players first class seats. Players also feel that the facilities can improve. Less than half of the team feel like they have enough hot and cold tub space. What raises the club's overall score are the people who work with the players, with training staffs and strength coaches ranking very highly. Also, they enjoy playing for head coach Nick Sirianni, who is ranked as one of the most player-friendly coaches in the league. Club owner Jeffrey Lurie ranks 8th in the NFL, with 97% of the players believing he is willing to upgrade the facility. So they have a good coach. They like the ownership, and I think that kind of spoke through the season. Everybody seemed to like Sirianni. I mean, I didn't, but it looks like the players like playing for him. So yeah, that's where the Eagles are at. Seems like they got pretty good reviews from their team. So interesting stuff. It's good to hear that. 49ers ranked good. They're 7th in the NFL on the report card. Just got to fix their damn trading space. Where can you read every team? If you go here, I just went and Googled this, and I just Googled NFLPA report card rankings. And you'll see the NFL Players Association, and it says NFL Player Team Report Cards. And it says you just click that, and it'll give you a individual report of every team. So you'll see this like little list, black list with red hyperlinks, and every team is listed. You can just click through and read it. It's pretty good, man. I read through it a little bit earlier, and there's a lot of other stuff on the NFL Players Association, but that's where you go straight to read this. So NFL Players Association. I just typed in NFLPA report card rankings, and it'll pop right up. It was the second option when you Google it. So you'll see a CBS Sports one on top of it, and it says NFLPA team report cards. Commanders earned the worst grade, and then right under that is the one I clicked. So dope. Yeah, so good stuff. And we're gonna do some tomorrow. We're finally gonna have some guests tomorrow. I was trying to have them today, but they had a crazy day, and then I had a crazy day, and then by the time I got home, it was just not gonna work. So we rescheduled everything tomorrow. I should have 2 guests actually tomorrow. So stay tuned for that, and maybe we'll do some draft stuff. I've been trying to keep up with the combine, but work's been crazy. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and talk about this team report card. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was something that was pretty cool for, the 49ers and, all the fan bases to kind of see where players kind of think that the teams can improve on. I thought it was dope. So, the Joe Montana jersey, that was crazy. Did you guys hear about that Joe Montana jersey that he sold? What was? Let me pull this up. So his Super Bowl jersey, there it is. Let me pull this up. So the jersey worn by Joe Montana during 2 Super Bowl victories has sold for $1.2 million, obliterating the record paid for a football jersey at an auction. That's crazy. $1.2 million. That doubles the previous record set by a game-worn Tom Brady Bucs jersey for $480K. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Joe Montana's Super Bowl jersey sold for $1.212 million. That's a lot of fucking money. Damn. The Drive jersey, the Drive, sold for 1.2, smashes the record. That's cool, man. That's cool. Lifted Mike says, when are we going to sign Gibson? Hopefully on March 15th when free agency starts. We'll see. Hopefully we get some news soon. Super Bowl 23. That's the one. The Drive at Super Bowl 23. So that's pretty cool, man. That's a lot of money. Shattered the record. It used to be for the old record. The Tom Brady jersey sold for $480K. This sold for $1.2 million. God, dog, man. Joe Montana, baby. But yeah, we'll talk about all this good stuff later in the week. Hopefully, we get some news soon about players. But again, the free agency starts March 15th. Players can start to negotiate March 13th. So we're very, very close. John Candy Super Bowl. Yes, the one, Andrew. But yeah, we'll see what happens in a couple weeks. We got some news slowly loading. I think there's going to be some good news coming up very soon. And you'll hear about it very, very soon. I think that they'll announce some signings. I think they're going to get back Emmanuel Mosley, and I think they're going to bring back Robbie Gould. Those are my predictions coming up, but we'll see. I'm sure they'll try to get some other guys back. But again, you got to realize there's going to be other teams that are going to be competing for these players, specifically a guy like Mosley and Ward. You got, D'Amico Ryans and Robert Salah. They want these players. They want players that they're familiar with. So, and Azeez Al-Shahir. I 100% don't think Azeez Al-Shahir is coming back. If he were to come back to the Niners, I'm going to be shook. And I'm going to be giving Parag Marathe and John Lynch a damn round of applause for getting him back. For him to come back when they have Fred Warner and Azeez there and somehow finding a way to pay, Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner there and somehow finding a way to pay Azeez, that would be crazy. Yeah, so we can't have both. You're right. Gibson or Ward, can't have both. It does sound like Gibson is coming back. That's what it sounds like. So we'll see. Mimi says, I'm nervous about Brock. Me too. I'm a little worried. But we're going to talk about him tomorrow when Dr. Pandya is on. We're going to I'm going to pick his brain out about these injuries tomorrow. I really got to. I've been waiting to talk to him. So I really want to get a sense of what he feels is in store for Brock Purdy and Trey Lance in terms of their injuries. So stay tuned tomorrow, 5:45 p.m. I'm going to be live with Dr. Pandya, and we're going to talk about the injuries to Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, specifically those two. I will ask him about also Emmanuel Mosley and Kalia Davis. I want to bring up them. They did have ACL recovery, so I kind of want to see where they're at. I'm going to ask him about Javon Kinlaw. I'm going to say, hey, look, man, what is your take on Javon Kinlaw's knee issues? Like, I want to get it from the orthopedic guy. I want to see what he thinks about Kinlaw. But I'll start off by asking him about Brock Purdy and Trey Lance, and then we'll kind of go through some of these other players. But I don't want to keep all his time. But those are the players I really want to kind of pick his mind about these injuries. And then I might bring up this information with the team facility and how they don't have enough space. I'm going to see if he thinks the same as me. Is that a big factor in causing injuries? He's an orthopedic surgeon. I'm sure he can kind of give us shine a big light of why the 49ers are getting hurt so much. I want to hear his opinion on it. So we'll get into that. I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a good rest of your night. Appreciate you. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe, all that good stuff. And take care. Have a good night. Bang, bang. Night again.